Good afternoon, good morning, good evening everyone. Today, we are going to be discussing something quite interesting to me. Maybe some of you, I don't know. Before that, there's a new video on Moisky Live and I'm streaming tonight on the very same channel at 9 PM or 9:30 PM GMT. Also streaming on Twitch just before. Link to all of it down below. As another little thing, starting from next week, there will be an additional film video series I'm working on. As many of you undoubtedly know, on this channel I do like to cover what I call injustice. So, in keeping with that theme, and it will only then feature the Judge Moist avatar, I'm going to do a video series called The Halls of bracket in end bracket justice, because I want to make it more of an audience interactive series where I will present something or maybe address a sentence that is incorrect or inaccurate and have you decide whether justice is served or not, or what you believe the correct form of justice should be. I know what you're all thinking. Wait, we get to decide sentences? Yeah. This, by the way, is the ISO cubes. Yes, get used to it. It's going to crop up in the near future as a thumbnail template, along with an update to the Exhibition of Stupid People thumbnail template, which will start next week. I want to try and make it a regular thing of one Exhibition of Stupid People a week and one Halls of Injustice a week as well. I hope you like it. Now, moving on to the subject of today's video, we need to use a man called Dominic Lappin. Dominic Lappin unfortunately suffered a rather nasty back injury in 2009 while working as a JCB driver. Under the premise that he was unable to work, he received a wide range of benefit payments, because there's not just one payment yet. There are many different systems that one can take full advantage of if their circumstances permit it, and Dominic fell into the bracket of that for about 4 years, because in 2013 he'd actually been working as a delivery driver, but unfortunately for Dominic, he decided in his infinite wisdom to continue to claim for a number of benefits that he was not entitled to. This included disability living allowance and personal independence payments, or PIP. Rather interestingly, and as a segue, I have a sister with fibromyalgia. For the most part, she has little to no mobility when it comes to moving her legs at a reasonable pace or angle, grip, and other such issues that arise from that condition. She took a PIP assessment. She did not qualify, so I have to admit, I'm somewhat impressed that Dominic Lappin managed to qualify by milking the living feck out of his symptoms, but to then continue to attend, and this is the part that bugs me the most, because every 6 months you have to be reassessed, which means he had to put this act back on to continue to claim those benefits. The part that sticks under my skin as much as that is that this kind of behaviour is oddly reminiscent of those who took advantage of every benefit available during the time of Labour. The Labour government from 1997 to 2010, as many know, created a system where many didn't think they had to work because the country just provided for them anyway, which I took great issue with, because then it de-incentivized those who wanted to work, or made it harder for those who wanted to work get work because they were just given money anyway. That said, if you are single, childless, chances are you're not going to get much help unless you're female. Not a joke. Genuinely, male are considered low priority. That's not to say all men, and that's not to say all women benefit. As we all know, that's not the case. To go back to Dominic Lappin, since 2013 he had received over £75,000 in benefits over that period. Now, he had, of course, been eventually caught out by an anonymous tip. Congratulations to the person who grasped. I actually, in this context, appreciate it, because honestly, I'm sick of people taking advantage of our system. But at the same time, I do understand why some do it. But there's a context, and it's so important. When he was caught, this was all taken to the Newcastle Crown Court, where after a short trial, he finally confessed to benefit fraud, which swung in his favour because he avoided prison, because he also agreed to pay back the money at a rate of £340 a month. Since you're working as a delivery driver, with you being seen to having walked 100 meters at a time climbing stairs after claiming you couldn't do more than 10 to 20 at a sedated pace. For 6 years, I am somewhat surprised that you got off in the way you did. I did leave out 2 other benefits that he was claiming during that time. One would be employment support allowance and housing benefit. In my mind, having lied and continued to do so for 6 years, I couldn't care less if you are in fact paying it back. Of course, I want you to pay it back, but I believe an example must be made since you managed to steal over £75,000 worth of the taxpayers' money to live what can only be described as a far more comfortable life, since you were doing what I would assume to be cash-in-hand work as a delivery driver, which is how it typically works for takeaway companies, which would undoubtedly have propped up your lifestyle, made it a bit more cushy. Some of Mr. Lappin's symptoms that he claimed over the 6-year period would include not being able to walk far without help, needing help when rising from a seat, needing help going to the bathroom, going up and down the stairs, feeling drowsy and uncoordinated due to his medication. Might I suggest, or should I have suggested perhaps in, 2013 when you decided to go down this path, maybe you should have gone to the doctor sooner to address the symptoms of drowsy and uncoordinated, which I'd like to point out on a number of medications, for example, like depression, it's already written on the box that after an hour you are more than likely going to start to feel drowsy, so it's hardly a surprise. Somewhat interestingly, where I had surmised he'd been working cash in hand, no, actually he hadn't. He had been working for a company called Elite Powder Coatings and delivering the finished products to customers or supplies, which is quite interesting because that means he was contracted, which means he was paying tax, which means departments weren't communicating, which means This gets worse. A final point of interest that I found to be quite sad was that during the trial, the recorder Iqbal said that Lappin had claimed taken up work to set an example for his children. Tell me, how on earth are you setting an example for your children when they then find out about this in a newspaper and discover, oh look, or in an archive, hell, they could Google your name and it will be there now for the rest of your life, and they see man works hard claiming he works hard for children while milking the benefit system, unless you want your children to grow up to be just like you, perhaps hard-working at one point, but then deciding, but there's an easy way out. I'll just go and take that, shall I? I don't think they'll feel any pride when they find out you're a benefit cheat. When sentencing, the judge said they've been persuaded not to lock him up, as it would cost more public money to look after him in jail, and it would jeopardize his job and his ability to pay the money back, and may have an adverse effect on his children. The get-out-of-jail-free card. Gotcha. He has a 12-month suspended sentence for 2 years with 250 hours of unpaid work, along with paying back the money. So far he has paid $4,500 back. I keenly await the rest of it. I can't wait to spend it all for you. As with all cases, I'm very much interested to know what you think. This should be a Halls of Injustice, to be honest. Hell, I might actually just do it anyway. Consider it on the thumbnail. Please let me know what you think about this in the comments below. If I don't see you tonight over on Twitch or on Moisky Live, I hope you'll have a fantastic Friday and subsequent weekend. And thank you all for listening.